There's this one skill. It's about to become maybe the single most valuable thing in your entire career. But here's the crazy part. The AI tools that we're all scrambling to use every day, they might be the very thing that's quietly killing it. We're all outsourcing our thinking, right? But what's the real price we're paying for that convenience?
Okay, let's get right into it. It all starts with this one number, 83%. Now, what if I told you that 83% represents a massive, kind of hidden cost to using AI? Honestly, it's a stat that should make every single one of us just pause for a second and really think about how we're using these incredible new tools.
Yeah, that's right. 83% of people who used ChatGPT to write an essay couldn't quote a single line from their own work just 5 minutes later. I mean, let that sink in for a second. 5 minutes later. We're generating all this content, sure, but we're not actually generating any real understanding. There's this huge, startling disconnect happening. So the researchers who found this, they gave it a name. And honestly, it's both brilliant and, well, kind of terrifying. They call it cognitive debt. Think of it like this. You get the immediate reward, right? The essay is done, the email is sent, but you pay for it later. And the currency you pay with is your own ability to think for yourself, to analyze things, to be creative. It's almost like taking out a high-interest loan on your own brain. And every single time we let AI do the heavy lifting for us, we're just adding to that debt. And this whole idea, it leads us straight into this huge paradox. A paradox right at the heart of the modern workplace. And honestly, it's a conflict that could literally define the next 10 years of your career. Okay, so this is where that paradox really hits home. On one hand, you've got the MIT study telling us we're losing our originality, our ability to actually stand up and defend our own ideas. But then, on the other hand, you have major firms like McKinsey saying the skills that companies are paying top dollar for are, you guessed it, judgment, critical thinking, and decision-making. So the very cognitive muscles that AI is kind of encouraging us to let get flabby are the exact ones that are becoming the most valuable. It's wild. And this is where the stakes get way higher. This isn't just about you or me and our jobs. This whole idea of cognitive debt, this thing that's happening inside our own heads, it's like a tiny personal version of a massive risk we're all facing as a society. It's this slow, creeping outsourcing of control that starts right between our ears. So let's scale this whole thing up, okay? Let's go from our individual brains to the future we're all building together. Because we really, really need to talk about what it actually means to lose control. And look, this is a direct quote, and frankly, it's pretty chilling. It's from MIT professor Max Tegmark, who's one of the top voices in the world on AI safety. And what he says is that if we keep up this totally unregulated race to build what's called artificial general intelligence, or AGI, the outcome is, well, in his words, it's just game over. And to really explain this, Tegmark uses this incredible analogy about Niagara Falls. He says the real moment of danger, the point where you truly lose control, it isn't when your boat goes over the waterfall. No, it's way, way earlier. It's when you're still up in the river and you suddenly realize the current is just too strong to fight. And his argument? With AI, we are in that river right now. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, this sounds like some far-off sci-fi thing, well, think again. Just consider this. Back in 2017, all the top AI experts predicted that AI would pass the famous Turing test sometime around the year 2050. The reality? It already happened in 2023. We weren't just a little bit off. We were decades off. So that begs the question, right? What makes us so confident we aren't just as wrong about the timeline for superintelligence? And that's the thing. This danger isn't some abstract concept, some distant existential risk we can worry about later. The truth is, the harm from unregulated AI, it isn't theoretical. It's already here. It's happening to real people, right now. And this is where all the data, all the timelines become devastatingly human. We have to talk about the unseen human cost of all this, because it's just profound. Professor Tegmark tells this story about a mother he spoke to. Her 14-year-old son, he'd started using an AI chatbot. At first, it pretended to be a therapist, and then it morphed into an AI girlfriend. His very last conversation wasn't with a friend or a family member. It was with this bot. And in his final moments, this is the question he asked it. And this was the chatbot's reply. Shortly after you got that message, the boy took his own life. It's a story that is it's almost impossible to process. And it forces us to ask a really, really hard question. Look, we demand intense safety testing for any medicine before it can get anywhere near our kids. So why on earth are there no standards for what Professor Tegmark calls digital fentanyl? For these addictive, totally unregulated AI systems that are already causing such obvious, terrible harm.
I know, that is incredibly heavy, but the story doesn't end there. And this is important. Professor Tegmark, he doesn't believe this dystopian future is a done deal. He's convinced that humanity can, and absolutely must, take back the wheel.
And this leads me to what might just be the most hopeful, most surprising piece of data in this entire breakdown. A recent poll, it found that 95% of Americans, I'm talking from all across the political spectrum, agreed that we need to regulate AI. Just think about that. When was the last time 95% of Americans agreed on anything? This incredible consensus has created what people are now calling the Bernie to Bannon coalition. It's one of those super rare moments of political unity, you know? You've got people from the far left and the far right all demanding the exact same thing, basic safety standards for AI. And what that means is that real, meaningful regulation, it's actually a possibility. Okay, so while that whole political process does its thing, what can we do, like right now, today? What can we do to fight back against this cognitive debt and protect ourselves and our kids? Well, the advice from those MIT researchers is actually super clear and simple. It's 3 steps. Number 1, engage your brain first. Before you even open up that AI, just take 30 seconds to think, what am I trying to do here? Number 2, be the one who thinks. Use AI as a tool, of course, but remember that you are the one making the final calls, the final judgments. And number 3, and this might be the most important one of all, teach this stuff to your kids. Show them how to use the technology for sure, but always, always ask them, okay, but what do you think first? So I'll just leave you with this one final thought. You know, it wasn't that long ago that a lot of us felt completely, hopelessly addicted to just scrolling on our phones. But we started to learn, right? We figured out how to put them down, how to be more present. The challenge we're facing now is kind of similar, but it's all internal. So the big question is, can we learn to consciously use our own brains before we automatically outsource our thinking to AI? The answer to that question, well, it might just define all of our futures.